Page number 602, 45th. Request for further remittance in view of expenditure on unforeseen items. Right side on the top, RK Mission Hostel, Asansol, date. Left side, my dear father, I hesitate to say that I find myself rather unexpectedly short of funds this month. There has been some calls on my purse which I could hardly foresee earlier. I know better than anybody else how much you deny yourself to keep the family going. I, therefore, do my best always to keep my expenses within the budget. But I am simply driven to ask you to send me another ₹100 to meet the expenses this month. Naturally, you will like to know why I need the extra money. Our mess bill at the hostel shot up by 15 rupees owing to the high prices. There's a move, however, to bring it down by certain economy measures. I further went out on a sightseeing party and had to pay my share of subscription. I had also to buy a book on physics, which proved somewhat costly. You will surely realize that I have not been an absolute spendthrift, throwing good money after bad. Hope to hear from you by the return of post. Yours lovingly, Sumanta. 46th. Describing the prize-giving ceremony at your school, Midnapur. Date, my dear Meshda, you already know that I topped the list in my class at the annual examination this year. Naturally, I looked forward to the prize day with a certain fluttering of the heart. I was going to bag a first prize at last. It came all yesterday. The whole town seemed to turn up on our school ground. The school hall was too small to hold them all. It had to be an open-air function, but we made the whole place look like a bower with flower pots, colourful paper flags and festoons. We were lucky to get Sri T.K. Mukherjee, the well-known novelist, as our chief guest. Sri Bose, our headmaster, began by reading his annual report. The school had a fine record to show for itself. The prize-giving ceremony began with the winners of primary classes. It was funny to see those tiny tots coming up and bowing for their prize. Samir of class 11th drew everyone's notice. He bagged almost all the prizes to be won. I feel that I made a fool of myself on the platform. I never felt so shy. I blushed and stammered when the chairman asked my name. My hands trembled so much that I actually dropped the prize. A fairly big batch of books. Anyway, all is well that ends well. I have started reading my prize books and I am thoroughly enjoying each one of them. Trust this finds you in good health and spirit. Yours loving, Bimal. Page 603, 47th. A letter to your friend giving him/her your opinion about the career you think will suit him/her best in a competitive age of 21st century. Address and the date right side up. My dear Indira, left side. I hope your examination will be over by the time this letter reaches you. Have you made up your mind about the career you want to pursue? If you want my suggestion, I would advise you to go for computer science. This is the age of computer science, having its application in various service sectors like banking, railway, office, travel, healthcare, etc. In fact, the entire batch of information technology needs the services of qualified computer personnel. With a vast growth in this sector, you will have a better chance of career advancement if you opt for this profession. Apart from securing good jobs, you can also start your own venture in this line. Please think over it and take your decision. With love, yours ever, Sumana. 48th. A letter from a father to his son who resides in college hostel asking him to be more economical. Address and date on right side up. Left side. My dear Surain, I felt a little worried on getting your last letter. It appeared that you can't meet your expenses with the money I sent you every month. As you say, you even ran into some debts last month. Nothing could be more undesirable. These are, no doubt, very hard days. Prices are soaring all the time. Your mess bill too has gone up, but I have been already sending you some 100 rupees extra for the last few months. It is in fact a real strain on me to send you as much as rupees 400 per month. You should have been fairly comfortable if you could plan your budget a little more wisely. You have reached an age when you should learn to feel a sense of responsibility for your family. I have to keep 2 of your brothers at school. Your mother's long illness this year also meant a heavy drain on my limited resources. I put by some money for building a small house in near future. That's in fact the only provision for future I am making. With all these calls on my purse, I am indeed very hard up. I am sure you will realize my difficulties and cut down your expenses as much as you can. Trust this finds you in the best of health. Yours, your loving father, P.N. Sengupta. Page 604, 49. Describing your experience in the examination hall. Address and date, right side up. Left side, Dear Priyanka, our examination is over today. I feel quite happy with what I did. I am writing to you describing my experience in the examination hall. The worst thing about an examination is that it gives us a bad fright. I too was all nerves. When the question papers were handed out, I felt my pulse racing and my heart missing a beat or two. With my eyes glued to the questions, I felt for a few moments my mind going blank. Steady, I said to myself. In a few moments I will scribble furiously, and all that I have read came back to me with a rush. A few desks off, a girl looked very red in the face and almost shivered. She would stand up every 5 minutes and ask for a glass of water. I finished a good half an hour before time and was about to hand in my paper on the first day of the examination. The invigilator, however, smiled sweetly at me and asked me to look over my answers once again. It was good to do that, because I found I had dropped some words and made quite a few mistakes in spellings. I felt much braver by the time I sat for the next paper. In another 4 days, I shall be with you all at home and tell you how funny examinations really are, and there is very little in them to frighten you. Your loving sister, Shilpi. 50th. About a book you have recently read and enjoyed. Address and date, right side top, left side, my dear Jayanta. Thank you very much for the fine book Pather Panchali that you presented me on my birthday. I sat up the whole night over the book. I could not tear myself away from it. I saw Satyajit Ray's film version of the book earlier. That sent me back to the book itself. To speak the truth, I find the book more gripping than the film. I could not resist my tears while reading about Durga's death or Sarbojiyo's suffering at Benares. I shall never forget the village Pathshala, the lotus pond, and the shady country lanes of Nishchindipura, the idyll of Durga and Apu, how they roamed and played together, the village baul singing charming song on the Ektara. Indira Thakuran is a very striking figure. She reminds me how sad was a woman's lot in those days. Sarbojaya was actually very mean and spiteful towards that helpless woman. But I forgive her when I find how heroic and chaste she was in her sufferings, and what a wonderful mother she was. Opu, the hero of the story, however, remains a matchless wonder. He looks upon his world with growing wonder and curiosity. That is the spirit of boyhood, and that is the main charm of the book which I enjoyed. I stop here today. I hope this finds you all right. With love to you, yours ever, Sandeep. Page 605, 51st. Visit to a book fair. Right side up, address and date. Left side, my dear Amal. I received your letter yesterday. I wanted to know about the Kolkata Book Fair. The fair has over the years grown into one of the most eagerly awaited cultural events in the city. This is usually held in the Maidan near the Territorial Army camp during the winter. This year I went there along with my 2 friends. The book fair was organized by the Booksellers and Publishers Guild. The publishers and booksellers from all over the country took part in it. Hundreds of pavilions were erected and all sorts of books, fictions, textbooks, children's book, books on general study, reference books were displayed. The stalls were superb in artistic designs and all drew huge crowd. Children moved about merrily with small packs of books in their hands. Arrangements at the fair were also very good. Food and drinks were sold from many stalls where the tired visitors halted for a rest. The entire area bore a festive look. We paid visit to almost all the stalls. We were simply absorbed in turning the pages of the books and felt like purchasing all of them. But limitations of our pocket did not permit that. After careful selection, we bought a few ones. The book fair gave us a rare opportunity to assess the advancement made in publication of books in our country. It was a heartening scene to see thousands of people queuing up in disciplined manner and pouring into the fair. Indeed, book fairs have grown very popular and they have helped to create a sense of interest for books amongst the general mass. You must make it a point to visit it next time. With love to you, yours ever, Bijoy. 52nd. Why you want to have a TV set at home. Address and date right side on the top. Left side, my dear father. I have been imploring you for the last several months to purchase a TV set in our house. In the present age, a TV set has become a part of our daily life. With man's quest for knowledge of the outside world increasing, TV's utility in the field of education and spreading knowledge can hardly be emphasized. We can not only listen to the news pouring in from all over the world, but also enjoy the visual transmission of the incident. It gives us the feeling as if we see the whole world in front of us, sitting in the cozy comfort of the living room. Programs of talks and interview of important personalities and music and sports seem to present the performer right before us. This makes a lively impression on our minds, which cannot be had through any other medium. After you come back tired from your office, you will certainly desire some relaxation and diversion. Mother will also need some relief from the daily work. With a TV set in front of you, it will be an ideal means of enjoying the evening. Of course, you may be apprehending that TV would harm my studies, but you need not be unduly worried about that. The TV will have a very sparing and judicious use for me, for with heavy pressure of my course, I shall have hardly much time to devote to it. I feel that a TV set is a must in our house, and we should have one such without further delay. With regards to you and mother, yours affectionately, Sandeep. 53. Scenes at a railway station. Vardhaman, date, my dear Gayatri. Yesterday I went to the railway station to see off a friend. When we reached there, the platform was full of people with their luggage scattered around them. The porters were talking in groups here and there. As the bell rang for the incoming train, they all spread out along the whole length of the platform. No sooner did the train slow down than began a scramble among the second-class passengers to get in. Most of the compartments were already quite full. Still, everybody managed to squeeze in. In some places, the little children and the articles of luggage were put in through the windows. Of the incoming passengers, some engaged porters to carry their luggage, but the majority managed their possessions themselves. Most of them had friends and relatives waiting to receive them, and when they met together, their faces beamed with joy. Then there was the vendors of fruit, sweets, tea, betel, etc., who went about from one place to another to sell their wares. When the starting bell rang and the guard blew his whistle, the train began to move. My friend looked out of her window to bid farewell with her handkerchief, and I returned home with a rather heavy heart at this separation from a dear friend. Hope you are all quite well. Yours ever, Sabita. Page 607, 54th. Your favorite game. Place and date right side top. Left side, my dear Jatin. I am glad to learn that you like tennis so much and have already acquired some skill in it. For myself, cricket is the game. No doubt it is costly. Still, it has many excellent points. Deep concentration, great patience, quickness of judgment and movement, perfect self-control. In fact, almost every quality necessary for success in the world is brought into play in this game. A good batsman must never allow his concentration to be disturbed by the wiles of the bowler or by attacking field placing. He must decide with the quickness of thought which ball he should play and which ball he should leave alone. He must have the nerves to face bumpers and the patience to save the game, if necessary by using up time. The bowlers and the fieldsmen too must never relax or lose concentration for a moment, even when the same batsmen go on punishing them for hours together, and then think of the spirit generally associated with the game. You must have seen how even the bowler and the fieldsmen cheer a batsman when he completes 50 or 100 runs. In what other game is such sporting spirit so common during the course of the game? The teams play the game in the true sense of the phrase, and hence has come the saying, "This is not cricket," to mean breaking the code of fair play between opponents in any sphere. Perhaps you will laugh at my enthusiasm for the game, but I have only stated just what I feel. With love, yours sincerely, Satyen. 55th. Address and date on the right side top. Topic: to my friend, telling him why you find English such an amusing and interesting language. Address and date right side top, left side, my dear Sheila. Thanks for your letter and the advice to work hard to learn English properly. Well, I am trying my best, but frankly speaking, the more I go deep into it, the more I find it an amusing language. The funniest aspect of this language is that, though there are some well-defined rules, there are exceptions also, and these have made it really difficult for one to master the language. Take for examples spelling and pronunciation. Key key and QUA key are two different words denoting clear-cut different meanings, but still they have the same pronunciation. I don't understand why we shall drop L while pronouncing chalk and retain it in block. Page 608. Beside and besides are so alike but are so much different in uses that I took some time to master them. I can never realize the uses of will and shall. There is so much difference between go to the market and go to market. One must say an umbrella but a university. The proper use of prepositions is really baffling. One wonders why we should deal with customers but deal in spices. I just cannot make out this difference between in London and at London. The use of tenses is also hurdle, and I do always mix up as I write. The other day I heard 3 white men speaking English in altogether different ways. Their pronunciations were different, and so were their accents. On inquiry I learnt that one of them was an American, another an Englishman, and third an Irishman. I have heard that Cockney, the English spoken in certain parts of London, is altogether different from what we are familiar with. But still I love the language, for it is one of the richest living languages in the world. I am really working hard to learn it properly. Do accept my love and convey my regards to your parents. Yours ever, Meenu. 56th. To your mother, describing the part you played in a relief party. Bolpur, date. Left side, my dear mother. I am very sorry that I could not write to you earlier. It is due to the fact that all the students of our hostel joined a flood relief party and went out to the neighbouring village for a few days. The sights we saw were really heartbreaking. Near Bhedia, it was all a vast sheet of water stretching to the horizon on all sides. Hardly any brick-built house was visible, let alone the thatched or mud houses which were so common in this area. First, we filled up our small rowing boat with cooked meal, cheera, gur, medicines and clothes. We started early morning and went out distributing food to the hungry and stranded people. For a distance, we rode to a double-storied pakka building and found all the members of the family and some neighbors huddled in the attic. The cattle, numbering around 20, were marooned on the roof. None of them had anything to eat for 3 days. Lack of drinking water and milk for the babies were other problems. In fact, probably they were counting the hours of death. As we arrived there with all sorts of help, we were bestowed with hearty blessings and they thankfully accepted the relief we brought to them. We also saw a couple of carcasses floating around and the vultures perched on branches of trees. We worked day and night and moved around from place to place to bring relief to the stranded and helpless creatures. We cooked and slept on the boat, but never felt tired. Indeed, we were all happy and excited that we could do something to the flood-stricken people. Our party returned only the day before yesterday, and everybody is in the fettle. Hope this will find you in good health. My love to Kuku, Monty and Mithu. Please accept my regards. Affectionately yours, Kalol. Page 609. 57th. To your father about your college life. Place and date on the right side top. Left side, my dear father. I am glad to hear that you want to know about my college life. Well, here it is. Since my earlier days in the school, I have always had a dream for college life, and that dream has come true at last. In the beginning, it was not all that pleasant and interesting. The known world of school life is absent here, and I do not quite like it. No school discipline works here in daily routine. There is no particular classroom for us, where we can sit from the first period to the last one. Different classes are held in different classrooms. We have to move about from one room to the other to attend the class lectures. Besides, there is none to question our absence. A boy can easily play and avoid classes, to which of course I am not accustomed. Moreover, there is hardly any cordial relation between the professors and students. There is no homework. In college, we are free to move about. There are also some undesirable outside influence upon the students. The students are more prone to political and cinematic discussions. On the whole, it is a new experience in my life, and I have not yet been able to adjust myself to it. With regards to you and mother, yours affectionately, Dhiman. Exercise 1. First, write an application to your headmaster praying for a free studentship. Second, write a letter to the postmaster complaining about irregular delivery of letters. Third, write a letter to your headmaster explaining your absence from the school for a week. Fourth, write a letter to your friend relating your experience on a wet day. Fifth, write a letter to your father about your recent illness. Sixth, write a letter to your friend stating what you purpose to do during the 2 months after your final exams. Seventh, write a letter to the headmaster of your school for a post in the primary section of your school. 8th, write a letter to your friend congratulating him on his winning a scholarship. 9th, write a letter to the editor of a newspaper complaining about overcrowded buses. 10th, write a letter to your friend thanking him for a birthday gift. Page 610. 11th, write a letter to your father describing a rail accident. 12th, write a letter to your younger brother who has gone to the USA for his studies about how you miss him at home. 13th, write a letter to your friend asking for some money as a loan. 14th, write a letter to the editor of a newspaper ventilating your grievances regarding inadequate transport facility from your locality. 15th, write a letter to the office in charge of the local police station reporting the loss of your motor car. 16th, write a letter to a bookseller asking him to expedite dispatch of some books which you have ordered for. 17th, write a letter to the editor of a newspaper about student indiscipline, suggesting remedies for it. 18th, write a letter to the manager of a bank reporting the loss of your passbook and requesting him to issue a duplicate one. 19th, write a letter to your neighbor requesting him not to play music loudly. 20th, write a letter to the editor of a newspaper complaining about the inconvenience caused by street hawkers spreading their wares on the footpath. 21st, write a letter to your friend asking him to join you in a rock climbing exercise. 22nd, write a letter to the chairman of your local municipality to arrange for regular removal of garbages. Page 611. Chapter 2, Précis Writing. 32nd. A précis. A French word pronounced and as précis. A précis is a summary and précis writing is summarizing or giving the substance or main ideas of a passage in a brief and intelligible form. A précis is a succinct digest of the essential facts contained in any piece of printed, written or spoken matter. 34th. Passages are of three kinds. A. Descriptive, describing places, scenes or objects. B. Narrative, narrating stories or events. C. Reflective, containing reflections on some virtues or vices or on abstract things like death, kindness of God, etc. Note: earthquake, flood, etc. as general terms make descriptive writings, but when a particular earthquake or flood, etc. is referred to, it is a narrative writing. 35th. How to proceed. Take a few examples. First, he acted in a manner that is not warranted by laws. He acted illegally. He is a man on whom no reliance can be placed. He is an unreliable or untrustworthy person. Third, his courage in battle might without exaggeration be called lion-like. Précis, he was very brave in battle. Fourth, he is plainly a man who has violated his oath of allegiance to his country. Précis, he is a traitor to his country. Fifth, the brave and hardy men who man our ships. Précis are brave sailors. Sixth, he was laboring under a very serious misapprehension indeed. Précis, he was very much mistaken. Obey your parents. We or children should obey our parents. Second, whatever you have to do, do earnestly. We should do our work earnestly.